happy to be here and to be moving with you. We're going to start in a side bend. So you could use just a rolled up towel or a pillow. I'm going to use a thin block with a rolled up towel on top of it, but come to a height that feels comfortable for you. And you'll start by laying the side of your rib cage below your armpit above your waist over whatever prop you choose, and you want it to be low enough that your arm can extend with ease and your head can come down, or you can stick a pillow or another towel between your head and your arm. But we're going to be here for a few moments, so we don't want to hold our head up the whole time. You want your head to relax down. And then straighten your legs nice and long. And then from here, take your top arm up into the air. Turn your palm to face towards the crown of your head, the top of your head. And nice and slowly we'll go overhead, reaching straight ahead and up, straight ahead, overhead. And so we're just starting class, so start to tune into your breath. Feel your breath, feel your inhales, feel your exhales. And you can do this with so many different things. You could put a foam roller underneath your ribs. Sometimes you could do this with one of those large exercise balls. It's a little bit more challenging to steady yourself, but that's a good thing to do a side bend over. Any variety of pillows, bolsters, towels. Check in with your ribs. Are they thrusting forward? Back them up into your body a little bit. Check in with your pelvis. Does it feel like it's tucked under or thrust it forward? Bring it back to neutral. Neutral is when those three bones, your pubic bone and your two ASIS bones, are in the same plane. And let's take a couple more reaches with our arm here. Feeling into the sides of the rib cage. You can keep going, or you can just hold your arm overhead for a couple breaths. And let's breathe into those top ribs, the sides, the back of them. And then pull yourself up with that arm, put it down in front of you. And now we're gonna hop down and we're gonna lay our hip over whatever prop we're using. You might find you want something lower for your hip, so really listen to your body. But you're gonna hop up so the very side of your hip, the side of your buttocks, is up on the prop, and then it takes a moment to get down, but once you get down, it's a little bit more comfortable. And now it's more of a stretch for your hip area down the side of your thigh, maybe a little bit into your waist, depending on where exactly you put the prop. And then just take a moment there, find the center of your hip. Sometimes it might be the bottom hip where you feel a lot of pressure. It shouldn't hurt. If it hurts, just come off and maybe skip this part for today. You could put the bolster up a little higher underneath your waist. And then just take a few breaths here. And you're welcome to reach that top arm overhead if that feels good to you. But if it feels nice to stabilize yourself, you can bring your hand down in front of you. Letting your breath really be in your awareness right now, just like at the start of every class, really tuning in to your breath. You can push down a little bit through your top leg, your bottom leg. Lift your top leg up just the tiniest bit and move your top leg forward and back a little bit. And just see how that feels for that top hip. All right, let's let that leg rest down, and then we'll use our front hand to push us up, and we'll spin all the way around to the other side. You can definitely just turn over and face away from me, but we'll start with the rib cage. So below the armpit, above the waist, right on the side of the rib cage. Check, are you rolling forward a little bit? Are you rolling back a little? Find the center of your rib cage. Make sure your head is comfortable, either on your arm or a pillow. Legs nice and long, ribs relax back and in, pelvis is in neutral, and then the top arm goes up into the air, and at your own pace, reach over and go up, tuning into your breath. If there's a purpose that you'd like to set for your practice, what would you like to be more aware of as you go into this next week in front of you? Remind yourself of that. How can you take better care of yourself? How can you take care of your well-being? And try to set something. So it's so easy to think, oh, that's nice, and then we don't think of anything. I mean, my go-to, if I don't think of anything, is I'm going to drink some more water. I'm going to eat some more fruit to hydrate myself. So have a backup. Always say something for your well-being. And sometimes you might need something in particular for the week, some courage, some extra self-kindness. Let's take one or two more like this, and then you can keep going, or you can hold and reach overhead, breathing into the top side of the rib cage. If you find that it's challenging to get the breath into the back of the ribs, that's a signal that your ribs are probably slightly still pushed forward. All right, and then bring that hand up, place it in front of you, press yourself up, and let's go over to the hips. And the prop is not like, this is not the right prop. The prop is to form your body. So there's not a right prop. The prop should be adjusted to what makes your body feel good, to what makes your body feel supported, to what creates sensation that feels good to your body and adapts your body slow. Because this can be a pretty big stretch down the outer hip for a lot of people. You can reach your arm overhead. You can keep your hand in front of you for stability. When I reach my arm overhead, it's easier for my hips to tip forward or back. So with my hand in front of me, it's easier to stack my hips. Relax any clenching to the best of your ability. How about pushing down through your bottom foot a little bit, lifting your top foot up just a tiny bit and moving that foot forward and back a little without much rocking forward and back of the hips. So you're stabilizing a little bit as you move. And you're just noticing, like if I back the leg up a little bit, ooh, do I feel more stretch there? Or if I bring the leg forward a little. Or maybe it feels best just letting your top foot drop down onto your bottom foot. Take another breath or two wherever you choose. And then bring your hand in front of you if it's not, and press yourself up. And then after that nice opening of the sides of our body, we're going to come onto our back. So whatever you'd like to put underneath your head that supports your ribs, dropping down and back into neutral, while at the same time you focus on your pelvis. Come on down to your back. And then from your back, you're going to scoot your hips a big hop over to your left. And then you're going to do a 2-knee roll over to your right. So 2-knee roll, roll all the way over, stack your knees, stack your ankles to the best of your ability. If they don't come together with ease, you can use a pillow or a towel and stack it between your legs. That's really nice. In particular, if you have wide hips, even if your legs come together easily, putting something between your thighs is really nice. And then you can open your arm behind you for a moment and just reach out into the air, spreading out through your fingers. And then push down through your right elbow in front of you. Lift your left leg first, roll back onto your back. Scoot your hips a big hop, bigger than you'd think, out to the right. And then a 2-knee spinal roll over to the left, maybe putting something between your knees and thighs, stacking your knees and your ankles to the best of your ability, and then reaching your right arm out behind you, just in the air, spreading out through your fingers, spreading out through your chest muscles. Breathing. All right, then push down through your left elbow, lift your right leg first to roll out. Come your hips back to center, and let's do one more each side, a little different. Scoot your hips a big hop over to the left. This time extend your right leg all the way straight and roll your left knee over. And again, you can put something under that lower leg to just have a little support so it can come all the way over. You're not trying to keep your spine back. You're letting your spine roll. And then once you have the anchor of your leg, maybe your spine opens a little as you reach that arm behind you. Maybe you choose a little bit of a different height this time, maybe a little bit higher. All right, that arm comes in, push down through your right elbow, unwind, bend your knees, scoot your hips a big hop over to the right, extend your left leg all the way. If you've got props for under your right knee, move them to the other side and roll. Maybe your lower leg rest on a towel. Keep on rolling, anchor that leg to your prop or the floor, and then your right arm goes up and just opens and holds and just hanging out in the air behind you. So you're not necessarily trying to bring it down to the ground. You're working your arm a little bit by holding it into the air. Feeling your breath flow into the sides of the ribs, feeling your exhale hugging your ribs in. All right, and then push down through that left elbow and unwind your legs. Come back to center, bring the soles of your feet together, your knees open. And remember, you can work this pose with so many different variations. So sometimes you can have your feet in really close, sometimes a little bit further away, sometimes quite a bit away where the soles of the feet together and the knees are open. You can also stack props underneath your thighs. Let's do 3 different angles. So I'm going to start with my feet really far away and my knees still opening. Have your arms straight down by your side so your palms might rest on your thighs, and then lift your arms up into the air and slowly go overhead. Notice if your ribs start to lift up, keep the ribs dropping down as the arms go overhead, and then bring the arms back down. And to the best of your ability, you're trying to work with a neutral spine. You're not holding your lower belly down, so there's this natural lift behind your waist, but right above it, the ribs are dropping down and back. And if you find that the ribs don't come down, then put a little something underneath your shoulder blades or something a little bit higher underneath your head. All right, next time your hands come in, drag your feet maybe a little bit closer or a little bit farther away. Soles of the feet press together, thighs drop open, turn your thumbs to point up. So we're changing the rotation of our arms as they go up and over. If you feel any clenching around your hips or your thighs, do your best to let it relax. Your thumbs point straight down to the floor as your arms go overhead. All right, how about bringing those legs in a little farther away or a little bit closer? Last one, palms face up, ribs relax down. As you take your arms up and over, now the palms of the hands face the floor behind you. And as they come up, they face the ceiling. All right, next time your arms come down, grab your strap, lift your knees up, wrap it around the ball of your right foot right below your toes. Pull back so you are actively flexing your ankle, but you're using your arms to do so. Extend your left leg straight. If you notice the back of the left thigh is up at all, untuck your pelvis. Let the back of the left thigh come down. And we're going to start with the leg pretty low. It depends on how high your strap is, but we're going to do 2 different angles. So one a little bit lower, maybe one a little bit higher, depending on where you can keep your pelvis in neutral. Start low. if your ankle tends to twist one way or the other, untwist so the entire sole of the foot is facing away from you, and then open that leg out to the right and slowly slide it across to the left. And pause for a moment when you're center. So it's like you come back to center, you're trying to feel, can I feel the back of my thigh? Even though my leg is low, you're still stretching the back of your thigh. As soon as your foot comes up off the floor, take it out to the side. Can I feel a little bit more of my inner thigh, groin area? And then slide it across. And I've talked about this a little bit recently, but there's that misconception that, oh, if I don't feel it, that means I need more because, I'm just able to go into these deeper ranges of motion. And actually, as your body becomes more connected, your nervous system becomes more integrated with your musculoskeletal system, you will feel more of all of the ranges of motion, even the ones that are not as intense. And not only did I experience this in my own body, very much so, but I have people all the time talk to me about how they are starting to experience that as well. How at first there was a lot they couldn't feel, and now that they're moving more in alignment all the time, let's take it to that higher height. Try to really stretch the legs straight and go out and across. And remember to kind of pause when you come up through the center to feel that hamstring, and then go across. And they'll tell me, I'm really starting to feel more even when I'm not in as extreme ranges of motion. And that's a really good sign for you and your body. Take your time, no floppiness with this movement. Control it a little bit with your hands. Go into ranges of motion that feel safe, that feel like you're slowly adapting your body. All right, let's switch. So bring your left foot up into the strap, wiggle your fingers out a little bit, extend that leg straight, lower the leg enough that the pelvis untucks, the back of the right thigh comes down. Try to really let that left leg be all the way straight. Start pretty low and then start to go across, side to side. Notice your ankle, does it twist? Twist the sole of the foot away from you. Pause, see if you can feel your hamstring, the back of your thigh in the center. When you go out to the side, feeling a little bit more of your inner thigh area. When you go across the body, a little bit more of your outer thigh, outer hip, IT band area. And of course, we're going side to side, but if it feels nice to pause, pause. That's one of the great things about dynamic movement is whenever you feel like you want to pause, you can. And if you find that you're just like, I really am not feeling this in my hips, but for some reason, for some days I do, check your pelvis. If your pelvis is very slightly tucked under, it will prevent you from feeling as much. Like I was going out to the side and I was like, not feeling it so much on my inner thigh. And then I tilted my tailbone a little bit more down to the floor, and right away I could feel more in my inner thigh and groin area. And it was very subtle. I mean, if from appearances, it would look like my tailbone is down, but I had to just tilt it down a little bit more. And I started to make a connection with that area of my hips. All right, next time you come through center, go a little higher without the knee bending, without the pelvis tucking under, and side to side there. Stay focused on the movement you're doing. How about 1 or 2 more each side? Or if you're pausing, now is your chance to finish up a pause. All right, and then make yourself way back to center. Release that strap, wiggle out your fingers because we're going to use our fingers again with the strap. With your knees bent, cross your left ankle over your right knee. Wrap the strap around the back of your right thigh. So now as your thigh comes in, you're trying to not lift your buttocks up. So the buttock stays tilted down as the thigh bone comes in. And it's over time, it can be more than most people realize. It's like that tailbone, the very bottom of it is coming down as you pull the thigh bone in. From here, center your hips, and then we'll point and flex your left ankle. Next time you're flexed, how about twisting? Turn the sole of the foot to face you a little bit and turn it away. Controlled motion, not floppy. Take your time. Bring it back to center. How about spreading all your toes out and then pushing your big toe forward, your little toes back, and then your little toes forward, your big toe back. And if it's not happening with your toes yet, then just keep working on whatever one you want to work on. But if your toes are moving pretty easily nowadays, spread, point one way, point the other way. And then spread, point one way, and then the other way. Spread, point one way, then the other way. All right, let's switch legs. Uncross your left ankle, wrap the strap around the back of your left thigh, cross your right ankle over your knee, center your hips. Think pelvis going one way as thigh bone goes the other. That's pure hip motion. And when we don't have a lot of hip motion, what happens is we start moving the spine instead. So tailbone down, the natural lift of the waist, pure hip motion, bringing that thigh in. And then let's start with point and flex. And it's a little more detailed, but after you've done this a while, notice this as you point and flex, your foot kind of twists in angles as you point and flex, and try to straighten your foot out. And then next time you flex, how about turn the ankle so the sole of the foot faces a little bit towards you and then away from you. And then you're just either trying to move your toes or you're going to start moving them in a pattern. Spreading your toes out, big toe forward, little toes back, little toes forward, big toe back. And then go back to spreading out and follow that pattern. Spreading and then toes go one way, toes go the other way. And then put your left foot down, uncross your right ankle. You can place that strap by the side. Now, as you lift your legs up into the air, if there's no way they're straightening, if they're just keeping the little bend, or if they really like to veer forward, put something under your hips, a towel, a block, anything that you want to stack under your hips to give a little bit of a height. And then from there, extend your legs up into the air and really straighten as much as you can. They still might not straighten all the way, but it will help a little bit. And then with your legs up in the air, straightening, 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 rotate your thigh bones. All the way one way, all the way the other. As they rotate, notice if they kind of get this very subtle knee bend and try to straighten even as you go into internal and external rotation. Internals when your knees and toes turn towards each other. Externals when your knees and toes turn away from each other. At any time while you're doing this, always feel free to bend your knees and give yourself a break. Especially when you first start, it can be a lot of work for the core and for the upper thigh muscles, especially the straighter that you get your legs. And so keep in mind that we're not trying to tuck or untuck our pelvis. We're trying to come back to a neutral pelvis. Like when I talk about a neutral pelvis, it's not just tuck or untuck. Sometimes you might have to tuck to come to a neutral pelvis. Sometimes you might have to untuck. And then the same thing here with the thigh bones is we're not trying to roll them out or roll them in. We're trying to come back to neutral. And a neutral thigh bone is when the two lines, maybe you can feel them on one leg, you have two lines behind your knee on either knee. It's when those lines point straight behind you. So focus on your legs and try to turn your thigh bones, ignore everything else, turn your thigh bones into neutral, where you feel like those two lines are pointing straight ahead. And for most people will notice their knees are turned slightly out to the right and the left when their thigh bone is neutral. Now, because our leg's in the air, our feet are also turned slightly out to the sides. But when we're standing, we'll turn our feet straight, and then we'll also rotate our thigh bones into neutral. So there'll be some resistance, which will be a little bit more work for the muscles. You can't do that when you're in the air, when your feet are in the air. Okay, let's rotate our thigh bones into external rotation. Knees and toes turn away. Interlace your right pinky finger on the bottom. Press your hands up into the air. Spread your thumbs away from each other. Breathing. Can you lengthen your legs a little bit more? And then internally rotate your thigh bones. Put your left pinky finger on the bottom, press up into the air, gently spread your thumbs, and with your thighs internally rotated, can you straighten a little bit more? Breathing. You might notice what prevents you. Is it the inner thighs that feel really tight? Is it the outer thighs? Is it the back of the thighs? All right, bring your feet back to center. Bend your knees, place your feet down. If you have something under your hips, take it out. And then from here, you can use anything you'd like to. If you don't have a prop, you can hold onto a strap with your palms face up and the strap taut between your two arms. And you can do different widths. You can do your hands closer, a little farther, a little farther. But if you want to use something with weight, or maybe by the end of class, if we have time, we'll do this again. Grab something else, like a rolled up mat is good that has a little weight to it, or a block that has a little weight to it. Hold on to it into your hands. Cross your right ankle in front of your left. Walk your ankles as far away from each other as you can. Let your thighs drop open. Either stay there or pick your right foot up and put it below your knee, not on your knee, below your knee on your lower leg, and let your thighs drop open. You can always put padding under your thighs here. And then from here, with whatever you've got in the air, turn your elbows to face forward towards your feet, and slowly holding onto whatever's in your hands, go overhead and come back up without the ribs lifting up. And this is a little deceiving, but this mat in my hands is pretty heavy, so it takes a lot of gripping for my fingers to hold on to it. That's why I'm not going too far overhead. If you're holding onto something a little lighter and your ribs can stay down, then definitely you can go a little bit farther. But that's the cool thing about sometimes working with something a little heavier. It makes you lessen your range of motion, which works your core muscles and your shoulder muscles in a different way. But ribs dropping down and back, pelvis untucking. All right, and then let's switch the crossing of our legs. Take your right foot off, put your left ankle in front, walk your feet in opposite directions of each other so you're crossing higher at your shins. Maybe your knees drop open and you just stay right there. Maybe you put your left leg on your right lower leg below your knee and let that thigh drop open. You can stack cushion or towels underneath your thighs, and then maybe you're using the same thing in your hands and you wrap your elbow pits to face behind you, so when you're looking, you can see your elbow pits right now as your arms go overhead without your ribs lifting up. And breathing. So one nice thing about having something longer like this heavy mat is you can sometimes bring your hands a little wider, you can take your hands a little closer. So you work not only your shoulders, but your core muscles in different degrees. But if not, that's okay. If you have your hands, you can press them into the side of a block if that works for you. Start thinking about things around your house that would be good to use for these, and then we'll do some more of this next week. All right, next time your arms come down, you can put whatever prop you're using to the side, and then we'll uncross our top leg, bend your knees, scoot your hips, a big hop over to the left. Do a 2-knee roll over to the right. And then this time you can stay right here or extend your legs long in front of you. Breathing. Breathing moves us from the inside out. All right, bend your knees, lift your top leg up first, unwind, scoot your hips a big hop to the right, 2-knee roll to the left, and then you can stay right there, or you can extend your legs all the way in front of you. And breathing there. All right, bend your knees, lift your right leg first, unwind, scoot your hips a big hop back over to the left. Extend your right leg long, do a 1-knee roll over, keep on going, let your spine go too, your foot comes to the floor, and then you can keep this top knee bent or extend your top leg all the way, extend your bottom leg all the way too. All right, rebend the bottom knee, push down through your right elbow to unwind, and then scoot your hips to center and a big hop over to the right. Extend your left leg long, start with your knee bent, roll over, and then once your foot comes down, maybe stay there, maybe extend your top leg all the way, extend your bottom leg too. All right, bend your top knee, push down through your left elbow, unwind your spine, and then you can either rock yourself up or roll to one side and gently press yourself up and come on over onto all fours, onto your hands and knees. From your hands and knees, set up your knees hip distance apart. Set up your hands a little bit wider than your knees, either under your shoulders or a little bit farther back so they're more under your chest. And then spread your thumbs out, wrap your elbow pits forward, relax your belly so your tailbone's in the air, and we'll do some rhomboid push-ups here. With our arms straight, wrapping our elbow pits forward, the spine drops down and lifts up, but all without the pelvis moving. So the belly stays relaxed, the pelvis stays relaxed, and it's just the upper back going up and down. Feel that width as you lift up. Feel your armpits, feel your breastbone lift up. If without bothering your wrists, you can scoot your hands back a little bit further. It helps to keep your shoulders down your back as you go up and down. All right, come on down to your elbows. And then they're shoulder distance. Bring your hands together, lay them on the ground. Let your hips go back any amount so your head drops down between your upper arms, and then lift your hands up above your head and tap your hands back down. And lift and tap. Check in with your feet. Knee distance apart, hip distance apart. Lift and tap. And lift, and of course if your head doesn't come down to the floor with ease, you can always put a block underneath your head and tap, and then push down through your forearms to lift your head up, walk your hands back underneath your shoulders, and then from here we're going to, with your knees bent underneath your hips, extend your right leg straight out to your right, come on up with your torso. You're pushing the sole of the foot gently down, or you're on the inner edge of the foot, pushing down through the inner edge of the foot. And you're going to bring your left hand either down to the floor, or if this feels a little of a big drop, feels like a big drop, you can put your hand on a block, rotating your elbow pit to face toward your fingers, lining up the block with your knee and your foot with your knee so it's all in one straight line. And then again, ground through that foot as you take your top arm up and over and into the air. Up and over and into the air. Overhead, into the air, overhead, into the air, and then pull yourself up. You're going to turn that right knee out to the side, heel toe, walk it forward so you're in a low lunge. Line up your back ankle right behind your back knee. And then from here, you might want to block in front of you, and you're going to, with your pelvis in neutral, so your pubic bone right underneath your ASIS bones, lift your arms up into the air, and then push your hips back and straighten your right leg any amount and point your toes up into the air. And you're not trying to go too low. You're trying to keep some of a neutral spine, and if you go too low, the pelvis will tuck under really easily. So instead, think more of straightening your leg. Don't worry so much about dropping your spine down. And then bend into the knee, arms go up, pubic bone leads the way. If you need to, put your ankle a little forward so it's under your knee, and push your hips back. Flex your ankle. Lengthen the back of that thigh. And come on up. And press back. And come up. And press back. All right, next time you come up, your arms come down. That right knee slides back. The left leg goes out to the side. Sole of the foot or inner foot grounds down. You can bring your hand to the floor or to a block. Line up the block, your knee, and your foot. Bring your hand over. You're trying to wrap your elbow pit toward your fingers that are pointing straight ahead, but at the same time, opening your waist up a little bit. Top arm goes into the air, and then reach overhead. Press long through that bottom foot, and go up. And reach over, and up. Reach over, and up. Reach over, and up. Pull yourself all the way up. Bend that left knee, and then heel toe the left foot forward. You might want to put the block in front of you any height. Start with your knee a little bit behind your ankle. Inhale, arms rise. Lead with the pubic bone going forward. Exhale, hands down. Stretch that leg nice and straight. Flex the ankle. And inhale, rise up. And just keep breathing as you go back. Try to let that leg straighten all the way without taking the spine too low. And arms rise. And press back. Sometimes I find this one is a lot more effective when I can get my pelvis more into neutral, which means not letting my spine drop down so far. And then arms rise up, bending into the front knee. And press your hips back. Last one like this, straightening out the ankle. All right, and then bend into the knee. And from here, you're going to bring your hands down, slide your knee back, come back onto all fours, hands and knees. Wrap your elbow pits forward. Find the top of the rhomboid push-up without tucking the tailbone under. Let's step the right leg back, followed by the left leg into a plank pose, and then nice and slowly take your hips up and back, keeping your feet about that distance. Press through the palms, wrap the elbow pits forward a little bit. Let's put a bend in the knees and get the tailbone really high, maybe creating that natural curve of the waist, and then just slowly straighten the legs a little and bend the knees a little, and see how much you can straighten without your spine rounding and tucking under. So keeping the belly relaxed, bend, and straighten your thigh bones back. Press equally through the balls of the feet. Watch the knees. Are they caving in or caving out? All right, next time your legs straighten back a bit, start walking your hands, keeping them shoulder distance apart, back towards your feet. Once your heels come down, back your entire body weight up over your heels, push through the backs of the legs to come up, and then grab whatever you're going to use for a calf stretch. Could be a rolled up towel, could be a thin block. And then we're gonna work with our one foot. It'll be straight the whole time, and the other foot will be turned in pigeon-toed with the hips facing straight ahead, turned out to the side, and then straight ahead. So we'll start with turned in, pigeon-toed calf stretch, ball of the foot up, heel down, but then turn your hips back to face forward. Only turn your foot enough that you don't feel any discomfort in your joints. Maybe your outside foot steps forward a little bit, 2 very straight legs, and then from here, dynamic side bends. Side to side at your own pace. Hips stay pretty steady. Feel the center of the heel, the center of that right heel. All right, let's switch. Turn those toes out to the side. It's easy for the hips to turn. Turn the hips back to face forward. Get the whole ball of the foot up if you can. Gotta adjust my block a little bit. And then from there, maybe that outside steps forward. It might be different than when your thigh was internally rotated. Now keep your hips facing straight ahead. Reach your arms out, and let's turn from the waist side to side, and it's just the upper body going, so your hips are not moving a lot, maybe a little bit because the waist pulls on them. Breathing. Relax your belly as you turn side to side. Ribs relax down and back. All right, come back to center. Now turn the outer edge of your foot straight. Traditional calf stretch with neutrals. Maybe step that outside foot forward a little bit, just so it feels comfortable and good. You don't always have to step that foot forward. And now let's put the two together. So reach we'll do the right arm. Right arm goes up and over into a side bend. Once you're in a side bend, take your side bend into a twist over to the left. Take your time. Good. Unwind your twist. Bring your right arm back up, arms out to the side. Now we'll twist to the left. Turn your upper body to the left. And now take that into a side bend where your right arm goes into the air. Try to keep 2 straight legs, ground through your legs. And then slowly come up, arms out to the side, hands down, switch feet. Pigeon toe, your left foot, your right foot is straight, left toes turn in any amount, hips square straight ahead, feet about hip distance apart, and then from there, dynamic side bends, side to side. Feel how it's so subtle, but feel how as you move your upper body side to side, you might feel the change of the stretch in your calf, in your foot muscles. So you can see how upper body alignment really affects how you're using the lower body as well, because how the upper body's aligned affects the loading of the lower body. All right, we're finishing up one more each side. And then we turn our foot out a bit, re-square your hips. Maybe that outside foot steps forward, and then open your arms to the sides. Keep grounding through your feet as your belly button twists side to side. I like this one for the way it feels, the transition of the calf muscles, the transition of the feet muscles. Watch any clenching, try not to clench. Palms face up. right, let's put it a little bit together. So turn that left outer edge of the foot very straight. Find that angle for the right foot, forward or back, where you'd like to work today. Take your left arm up and over into a side bend, and then twist and kind of reach over to your right. Untwist, pull your body up, arms out to the side, twist just your upper body to the right, and now you're going to take your left arm up and over into a side bend. So a twist with a side bend this time. And bring that arm down and unwind. All right, you can step off that block. And so now we're going to do our top of the foot stretch just for a moment. Push down through your left hip, tuck your right foot back. You want, on your balancing leg, your foot to be straight, your weight to be back in your heels, so you could easily lift your toes if you wanted to, and then you want your joints to be stacked, and it's very common that it's easier for the hip to go out to the side, so you want to push down, hug the hip in, weight back over the heels, okay? Let's do that on the other side for just a moment. And again, you're working on backing your thigh bone up. And if you'd like to take it to, after you kind of mastered, my foot is straight, my weight is back, my hip is in, not popping out to the side, you can start rotating your thigh bone into neutral here, but make sure that you're able to lift and lower your kneecap. And if not, work on that a lot more. Breathing. Okay, so feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. You'll push down through your outer left hip, hug it in. Your right foot floats up. Now, you can work on your foot straight, your weight back in your heels. You could use a chair to help you with all of that, hugging your left hip in. A little harder without support to rotate that thigh bone into neutral and hold it there, unless you've been practicing for a long time. But from here, push down through that leg and lift your right leg out to the side. And it just hangs down. You can tap it down in between, breathing. Gotta find my stability there. Okay, next time your leg goes out to the side, tuck the top of the foot behind you wide. So it's a little bit of a wider spread. And you might land a little bit more on the big toe side of your foot. Back off if it hurts at all. All right, let's switch. Feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Maybe start by trying to at least rotate that thigh bone into neutral a little. Back your hips up, hug the hip in, lift the foot up. And then from there, lift and lower. Relax your arms and shoulders as much as possible if you can. Don't forget about the pelvic lifting. That's what's going to keep your legs steady. So whenever I kind of forget about it and I start focusing outwardly, then I lose my stability. Okay, take that foot out to the side a little, tuck the top of the foot under. A little bit of a wide top of the foot stretch. You can practice getting that thigh bone a little bit more into neutral. Maybe you saw mine could definitely go there. But thigh bone in neutral, key is that your foot is straight, because your thigh bone is not accurately rotating into neutral if your foot is crooked. And that's an important thing to remember, because you don't want to be over or under rotating your thigh bone all the time, especially if you're already dealing with a knee or a hip issue. All right, bring that foot back. Let's start at the top of the mat. Outer edges of the feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. And then we'll sit back into a chair pose. Straighten your legs, rotate forward into a half forward fold. And then again, sit back into a chair pose. Bring your hands to the floor. Keep your right foot forward. Step your left leg back. Lower your knee down. Interlace your fingers. Right pinky finger on the bottom behind your head. Think ribs drop down, but head ramps back into your hands. Twist your belly to your right. Stabilize through the feet. Unwind. Bring your hands down, your left hand down to the floor of the block. You can keep your back knee down or lift it. Wrap your bottom elbow pit forward. Twist your right arm open from the belly. Stretch long through that back leg if it's lifted. And then bring your hand down inside your right foot. Everyone lift your back knee and walk halfway around to the left. Parallel your feet. Back your weight up into your heels. Come up halfway. Now with your feet really straight, you can practice rotating your thigh bones into neutral a little, maybe lifting your kneecaps up and down. Shift your hips to the right. Shift your hips to the left. Come back to center, press through the heels to come up. Turn your right toes out 90 degrees, edge of the foot straight. You're rotating that thigh bone into neutral as you bend into the knee. Hand or elbow to the knee, reach that top arm up, the belly twist open without the ribs thrusting forward. Curl underneath your leg, or you can go in the hole between your arms. And open up, twist from the belly. Curl under, twist open. Curl under, and twist open. Curl under, twist open. Nice and slowly here. Pull your upper body up. Keep your right knee bending. And then from a warrior two, we'll straighten the leg very slowly, but all the way, and tip over into a triangle pose. And then rebend the knee, steering the thigh bone into neutral. Warrior two, slowly straighten over to a triangle pose. Ribs back up, belly turns to the ceiling a little bit. And then rebend your knee, pull your torso up, parallel your feet, rotate yourself into a forward fold, walk back around to your right foot at the front of the mat, put your back knee down, slide your right foot back to meet your left foot, thumbs spread out, elbow pits wrap forward. This time, let's go a little bit wider than hip distance apart. So take your hands towards the outer edge of your mat, and do some rhomboid push-up with your arms a little bit wider. You can always walk your hands back a little bit so they're more underneath your chest. Spine drops down, spine lifts up. Elbow pit wrapping forward. Pelvis and tailbone not really getting involved. They're staying pretty relaxed with your tailbone high in the air. How about switching to your thumbs spreading out and touching each other so your hands are closer than shoulder distance apart. Keep wrapping those elbow pits forward and rhomboid push-ups here. Breathing. If your elbows tend to push forward, back them up. You got to go a little slower at first if that's the habit pattern of your body, so your elbows don't push in front of your wrist. Okay, bring your hands back to shoulder distance apart. You're on your knees. Extend that right leg out to the right and then walk your left hand to the left. You're welcome to grab a block and put it underneath your arm. Wrap that elbow pit. Rotate your top hip on top of your bottom hip. Reach that leg into the air. Reach long through that leg. Reach your top arm into the air. Turn the palm of the head towards the crown of your head. Breathing. Lower that knee down, and then from there, you can pull your torso up, rebend your knee, come back onto all fours, top of the rhomboid push-up, step your left foot back, followed by your right leg, go up and back into a downward facing dog. Push your hips back, press through the palms, breathing. Press equally through the balls of the feet. And then from there, lower your knees down, stand up on your knees, step your right foot forward, tuck your left toes under, push down to step up. And now, whatever you're going to use for a double calf stretch, I have a towel folded in half lengthwise, rolled up, and it's a pretty big towel, so it works. It's at least hip distance apart. You can use an extra rolled up mat. You can use 2 blocks next to each other. If you have a half dome that's a little bit longer, let's put our feet up, pigeon toeing them. So toes turn in, heels out, and rotate from the pelvis, just coming halfway or less. Think more of backing your thigh bones up. Watch your ankles. Do they tend to roll in or out? And even here, you can subtly work on rotating your thigh bones a little bit into neutral, but never forcing because the feet are crooked, so it's not going to be quite the same. Turn your feet slightly out to the side, push your hips back. And so this case, if you work your thigh bones into neutral where your knees point straight behind you, you might internally rotate your thighs a little bit since your feet are crooked. All right, and then come back up, outer edges of feet straight, and push your hips back. Thigh bones neutral. This is a truly neutral thigh bone when the outer edges of your feet are straight. And then slowly come up, and you can move that prop out of the way, and we'll start with side 2. Outer edges of the feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. Sit back into a chair pose. Hands to the hips, straighten your thigh bones all the way back as you rotate your hips back. Sit back into a chair pose. Fold over your legs. Left foot steps forward, right foot back. Lower the knee down, steady through the feet as you come up. Interlace your left pinky finger on top. Ribs drop down, but ears slide back. Turn the belly button to the left. Unwind, bring your hands down, right hand to the floor or a block under your shoulder. Wrap that elbow pit forward. Back knee stays down without your front knee going past your ankle, or tuck and lift your back knee and turn open from the waist. Breathing. Stretch long through that back leg. Bring your hand down inside your left foot. If your back knee is down, lift your back knee up. Walk halfway around to the right. Parallel your feet. Back your weight up into your heels. Push down through the backs of the legs. And then from there, rotate, pushing your hips back. Maybe a little bit of work on thigh bones in neutral. Outer edges of the feet straight. Shift your hips to the left. Shift your hips to the right. Come back to center. Come on up. Turn your foot out, edge of the foot straight. That thigh bone rotates into neutral. Hand or elbow to the leg. Turn open from the belly as you reach that top arm into the air, and then curl in between your arms or under your leg, whatever you prefer, and roll open. And curl under. And roll open. Curl under, watch the leg and the ankle. And roll open. Curl under. Roll open. Push into the feet, pull your torso up. Keep bending your left knee. Warrior 2 to straighten slowly, but all the way triangle pose. Rebend into the knee. Rotating the thigh bone open, warrior 2, and then slowly straighten and over into triangle pose. And then pull your torso back up, parallel your feet, rotate your pelvis, backing your hips up, walk around to your left foot at the front of the mat. Lower your back knee down, slide your front knee back to meet your left leg, hands a little wider than your knees, elbow pits wrap forward without pressing the elbows forward, rhomboid push-ups with wider arm bones. Bring your thumbs together, your hands back under your chest, and rhomboid push-ups, just the upper body, not the pelvis. The lower belly relaxes. Lift up through the breastbone. Lift up through the armpits. All right, and then from there, stand up on your knees. Step your left foot forward, tuck your back toes under, push down to step up. So I'm a little ill-prepared. I'll be right back in 2 seconds. Grab a chair. You can use a chair, or you can use a wall space that you have nearby you. You can use the back of the chair or the seat of the chair. Face sideways to the chair. Turn your foot closer to the chair with the edge of the foot straight, and eventually you're going to work on that neutral thigh bone with that leg. You're leaning forward, either putting your hand on the chair, or you can put a block on the chair to make it higher, or you can hold onto the back of the chair, and you're pushing down through that front leg and lifting your leg into the air. Reach long through that leg. Try to feel like you're rotating your thigh bone into neutral, but at the same time turning your belly button open, and then maybe reaching your top arm into the air. Breathing. Can your kneecap of your bottom leg lift up and down? And then slowly come up. That was a little not slow. And then turn around. And you can just turn around and face away from me. But turn your toes towards the chair. Try not to let that foot hop crooked last moment, because remember, that won't be an actual neutral rotation. And if neutral rotation isn't happening yet, then just ignore that. Lean forward to the hand or a block or the back of the chair. Being higher up sometimes gives you a little bit more space to work with your hip. And then you're going to push down, lift that leg into the air, back the weight up into the heel, try to rotate that bottom thigh bone into neutral. And then roll the belly button open, reach long through that leg in the air, and reach your top arm up into the air. Breathing. And then slowly come up. Excellent. Okay, grab a block, or if you have your chair, you can just sit down to your chair if you'd like to. And we'll just do a couple squats. So feet straight, ankles hip distance. Sit back nice and slowly, back the hips up, watch the thighs collapsing. Tap whatever you're going down to. Push your hips back to slowly come up. Let's do one more like that. Sit your hips back, working your way down, and then wherever you are, you're just going to crawl yourself all the way down to the ground. Get something that's comfortable for underneath your head. If you'd like to do your log raises, you can just do arms without anything in your hands, but if you want something in your hands, grab that. Come onto your back. And now your choice, either soles of feet together, knees open, you can always stack blocks, or internal rotation, walk your feet wide and drop your knees in. So maybe try both of them and see which one feels better for my body right now. Which one does my body want? And for me, my body wants this deep internal rotation. So thighs open or knees dropping in, just arm raises, or hold on to your prop, palms face up. You can use a strap taut, elbow pits wrap behind you, arms in the air, tailbone tilts down, ribs relax down, and slowly take it over without the ribs coming up and back up. And take one or two more of those. And then when you're ready, just put your prop by your side. If your knees are in or your knees are open, go ahead and lift them up or open them and gently hug your knees into your chest, wide hip distance apart. You can circle your ankles around a little bit in one direction and then the other direction. And then keep your knees up as you reach your arms overhead. Circle your wrist around in one direction and the other direction. And then as your arms come down, your feet come down, your legs stretch long, your palms open, let your gaze soften or your eyes gently close. And become very present with your body. Become very present with your breath. Stay present with your body, your breath. You are strong, you are wise, and you are loved. No matter where life takes you or what path you choose, you will always meet challenges. That is the way life is. There are no guarantees, and no matter how many things you do right or how many rules you follow, there will always be that fork in the road that makes you choose between this way or that. Whenever you meet this place, remember these things. You are loved. Love will sustain you. You are strong. You will get through anything. You are wise. The greatest gift of all lies within you. Start to tune into your breath. If you're ready to move your body around, of course you're home. If you just want to stay in Savasana, please stay in Savasana. But otherwise, a little move this way, a little move that way, and then bending your knees and rolling to one side. Pause there. Take a breath. Recall that purpose you set for yourself. And then with ease, press yourself up to a seated position. Bringing our hands together at heart center in gratitude for this day. Namaste. All right, so I just wanted to introduce Half Moon a little bit today. I ended up having a lot more than I realized planned for us, but we'll practice more of it next week. So if you're going to practice anything, of course, stick to feet straight, ankles hip distance apart, but try to get those kneecaps lifting up and down. And one way, if it's not happening standing yet, is to sit and stretch your legs long and see with your legs really straight. Can you get the kneecaps lifting up and down, or you can even lean back against a wall? So that way you know that when you're rotating your thigh bones, you can lift your kneecaps up and down, and it's beneficial for your body. But it's a lot more challenging to do things like Half Moon pose when your foot is straight, when your thigh bone is neutral, when you're rolling open from your waist, as opposed to, this might not be your situation, but for 10 years, that was one of my favorite poses, and we'd flow through it in class, and I'd bring my hand all the way down to the block on the floor, yet my foot was crooked and my thigh bone is when it internally rotated. And doing that long term is actually not as good for my body, even though it's so fun to get into the pose. So now we're just bringing it in a little bit and working on more precision. So I hope that you enjoy that with me. See you next week.